Okay, class, we are going to take a look at the 5.1 Ready, Set, Go notes. And so this video is going to help us refresh, how to graph a linear function. I can graph a linear function. There's a couple of forms that we've been studying. The first one's called slope-intercept. And so this equation has a slope, which is represented by m, and it has a y-intercept, which is represented by a b. And the formula is y equals mx plus b. For example, maybe we have y equals 3/5 x minus 7. And so for this example, the slope would be 3 over 5, up 3 over 5, and the b value would be -7. That's the starting point. Point slope form, on the other hand, this needs a point. So we have an x comma a y as well as a slope. And it looks a little more like this. Y is equal to m times x minus x1 plus y1. And so x1, y1, let's put x1, y1, that's your point and that's your slope. For example, maybe we have 3 times x minus 4 plus 7. Sometimes that number is in the end, or sometimes that 7 actually can go first. Plus 3 times x minus 4. This is the same equation, just with the starting point in a different place. So for both of them, the slope would be 3 over 1. The slope is in front of the x, and then your point would be 4 comma 7. And that's just a review of the two forms we've learned. For example, let's look at this first line. They want us to graph that line. This is the short form. There's a couple things I know. The slope is -2 over 1, and the starting point for this line is 0 comma 4, or a y-intercept. So on our graph, 1, 2, 3, 4, here's your starting point. Since the slope is negative, it's going to be going downhill, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. We want to make sure that we do as many points as possible. And we can go the other way. We would go up 2, and then we'd go left 1. Up 2, left 1. And so here is the equation of the line. Don't forget, draw a straight line. Draw a straight line. Plot many points. Plot many points using your slope. Using the slope, and don't forget to draw arrows. I put some notes down here. Draw the straight line, plot many points, and draw your arrows. I'm going to do the second example over here, which is in point slope form. Sometimes we're calling this the longer form. This has a fancier starting point, not with 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the slope, which is right here in front of the x. Don't forget to look in front, so it's -2 over 1. And then the starting point is going to be -1. Don't forget to change the x. And then the y is 6. So let's go to -1. And then up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the starting point, not on the y-axis. And the slope is down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. This is seeming very familiar. Is this the same graph as this one? It touched the y-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. And it's going downhill. It touched the x-axis at 2. Did this line do that? Yeah, it's the same line. Okay, it's a different form of the same equation. In fact, I can show you. You guys have learned how to change this. Let's change. Let's change y equals 6 minus 2 times x plus 1 into the other equation. And the way that we're going to do that, we're going to distribute a negative 2. So 6, just hang on to a second, minus 2x, a negative times a positive is negative 2, and then I'll go ahead and add the like terms. Negative 2x plus 4. It is the same equation. Same equation. Same graph, just a different form. Okay? So we have learned lots of ways to do lines. It's just two different ways. Okay? We can use the coordinate points, okay, in a graph to determine if it's a solution. Okay, so here's an equation of a line. I'm going to graph that, and then here's 2 points. Okay, and there's 2 ways that we could do it. I'm going to go ahead and graph y equals negative 4x plus 5. Negative 4x plus 5. So the slope is negative 4 over 1. And the starting point is 0, 5. Okay, let's do a really good job and make sure this comes out nice. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the slope is downhill again. Down 4 over 1. Down 4 over 1. Down 4 over 1. I'm also going to go the other way just a little bit. I'm going to go up 4, and then which way would I have to go? To the left 1. Okay, so here is the line, negative 4x plus 5. And here are some points on that line. Okay, there's some points on it. So I'm looking at question A. Is the point 2, negative 3 on this graph? Let's see. If I go 2 to the right and I go 3 down, yes, it is. The point 2, negative 3 is on the line. Okay, this point is a solution. It is a solution. Okay, so a solution is a point that works on the line. It works on the line. Okay, so one of the ways we could do this is by graphing the line and then seeing if the point is on it or not. How about the other one they asked about? Negative 1, 1. So I go 1 to the left, 1 up. Here's the point, negative 1, 1. Is that point on the line? No, okay? No, not a solution. Not a solution. It is not on the line. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure that I do, okay, is have graph paper handy so I can graph the line. But there's another way to do it, okay, and that would be algebra. So algebraically, how could I determine if a point is a solution? Okay, so we're going to do problem A once again. Is 2, negative 3 on the line? And the line is y equals negative 4x plus 5. Okay, so without having graph paper, how could I test this point? Well, it's really quite simple. If they give you a point, that's the x number, and that's the y number. I could take the x number 2, and I could plug it into the x spot. I could take the y number, plug it into the y spot, and I could see if it works. Let's do that. I'm going to take negative 3 and plug it into y. Negative 4, okay, times x. What's the x number? 2 plus 5. Let's do our calculations. Does negative 3 equal this stuff? Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 plus 5. Negative 3 does equal negative 3. It works. Okay, so is this point on the line? Yes. Yes, okay. And my proof is right here. My algebra work. I could do number calculations or I could look at the graph. Okay, but we knew it was going to work because right there it's on the. Let's try this other point. Okay, let's check. Let's check the point -1, 1. Okay, on the line y equals -4x plus 5. I know the answer is going to be no, but I want to make sure that I get that over here. Okay, so in terms of x, y, -1 is the x number, +1 is the y number. Okay, so let's plug them into the proper spots. Tell me the y number. 1 equals -4. What's the x number? -1 plus 5. And let's see if this works. Does 1 equal this calculation? Negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 plus 5, okay, make sure you calculate all the way, is 9. You have to get all the way to the end where you get something false. That is not equal. Can you please slash that out? 1 does not equal 9, so I'm going to say it is not a solution. It did not work. The point, the x number and the y number has to work, and it did not. Okay. The last thing we're going to do here is a little review of how to write an equation if I draw a graph or if a graph is given. Okay. And so this first equation right here, this first line, I notice it's downhill. So I'm just going to write some things that I see. Okay. It's definitely going downhill. That means the slope is going to be negative. There's two things you need to write an equation. Okay, one of the things is slope, and then the other thing, number 2, okay, is the starting point. If you can find a starting point on the y-axis, this would be really easy. Okay, and I see one right there. The starting point is 0, 2. Okay, now let's try to figure out the slope by finding another point. That's not good. That's not good, but this one right here, that one's super good. Okay, so I would go down to -2, and then I would go over 3, -3. I'm ready to write the equation. I have the two things that I need. Y equals starting number 2 minus 2/3 x. Okay, or for some of you that want to write this in y equals mx plus b, y equals the slope times x plus 2. It's the same thing. They're both perfectly acceptable. Okay, and here's one more. Write the equation of the line. I notice the starting number right there is 0, -1. The other thing we need is the slope. So we're going to rise up 1 and over 4. So the slope is 1/4. So the equation of the line, y equals -1 plus 1/4 x. Or what we could do is write 1/4 x minus 1. I hope this makes sense and that it was a nice review of all your knowledge of lines. Thank you.